Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder why some friendships just click and others don't? Or why we remember some interactions so much better than others? Well, this new study might have some fascinating clues. Imagine trying to figure out if you want to be friends with someone, you meet them, you interact, and based on those experiences, your interest goes up or down. Researchers are starting to think that this whole process of figuring out who to befriend is a lot like how we learn to get rewards. Like finding a great snack or winning a game, they used a clever method involving a reality television show to test this idea. So how did they do it? They took clips from a show called The Valley, which is all about relationships and drama. They showed these clips to people, and in each clip, a character named Kristen was either acting in a way that made her seem like a great potential friend or not so much. The researchers had already figured out how rewarding each clip would feel if you were thinking about befriending Kristen. After watching each little clip, the participants had to make two decisions. First, would they want to be friends with Kristen? And second, how connected did they feel to her in that moment? They did this for a bunch of clips, and then the next day, they were given surprise memory tests. They also filled out some questionnaires about their own social lives and how they usually approach relationships. Now, for the really interesting part, what did they find? First off, the actual reward value of Kristen's behavior in a clip, how much they expected her friendship to be worth, and how surprising her behavior was all predicted how connected people felt to her at that moment. Think of it like this. If Kristen did something surprisingly good, it made people feel more connected if she did something surprisingly bad. It probably made them feel less connected. They also found that how people learn and make decisions in this friendship task is linked to their real-life social experiences. For example, people who have a lot of social support in their lives tend to update their ideas about Kristen more quickly. It's like they're more flexible and open to new information when it comes to figuring out a new friend. On the flip side, people who worry a lot about being accepted by others or who are really preoccupied with their relationships tended to be more rigid in their friendship decisions. They were less likely to explore different options and more likely to stick with what they thought was best. It's like they're being more cautious to make sure they don't mess up a potential connection. In fact, this cautious decision-making style actually helped explain how worried people were about relationship acceptance and how connected they felt overall. This suggests that for some, being more deterministic in how they choose friends might be a way to try and feel more connected. Now, let's talk about memory. This is where things get really interesting. The study found that we tend to remember the negative stuff more. For one type of memory test, people were better at recalling scenes where they felt less connected to Kristen. It's like our brains flag those moments of disconnection. And in another memory test, where people had to recall things in their own words, they were better at remembering the scenes that were less rewarding. And when Kristen acted worse than expected, basically we seem to have a negativity bias in our memory for potential friends, especially for the overall gist of the experience. If a friendship opportunity seems disappointing or surprising in a bad way, it sticks with us more. So, what does all this mean for us? It suggests that our brains are constantly learning and updating our expectations about people, just like we learn about other rewards. This learning process directly influences how connected we feel and what we remember about potential friends. It highlights that friendship isn't just a static decision, but an ongoing learning experience. The study's use of clips from a reality television show is a great way to bridge the gap between controlled lab experiments and real-life social situations. It allowed them to see how people react to dynamic social behavior. Now, no study is perfect. One limitation here is that the reward value in the clips might have been mixed up with social norms. It's hard to say for sure if people were reacting to Kristen's individual actions or what they thought was socially acceptable. Also, this was done in a lab setting, not in real life. They can't say for sure how this translates to people actually making friends in the real world. But the findings are still really strong. They show that reinforcement learning, the same principles that explain how we learn about money or games, also plays a huge role in how we navigate friendships. It tells us that our experiences, and especially the surprising ones, shape who we let into our lives. Future research could explore how this learning changes as we get older, or how different kinds of social environments like work versus a party might affect this process. They could also look more into how things like anxiety or depression might influence this social learning. It's a fascinating look into the complex world of friendship and how our brains are wired to learn and connect. What do you think about these findings? Does this match your own experiences with making friends? Let me know in the comments below, and if you found this interesting, please give this video a like and subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more science breakdowns. Well, see you in the next one.